Hello, everyone. I wanted to take just a little bit of your time to talk about a big topic, and that is in-person tastings. So now that the world is getting back to somewhat sense of normalcy, um, there is a huge push for in-person tastings. So I want to go over with you three different reasons why you want to do an in-person tasting, and then some common objections that I hear from so many people of why that's not going to work for them, and hopefully give you a reason to start booking in-person tastings. So again, I'm Jenna Flynn, lead director for the Hope Heals team with OneHope, and I wanted to just chat for a little bit about in-person tastings. So the first reason why I believe that you should do an in-person tasting is because it is some way to bring the Napa tasting experience to them. So I don't know about you, but one of my favorite hobbies to do and why I started this business is because I love wine. So I love going to different wineries in my area and doing wine tastings. So, one thing that I can't do, however, at the drop of a hat is go to Napa. So, obviously, that is the ideal place to go wine tasting. But we can't do that all the time. So, what One Hope allows you to do, and the whole premise behind why One Hope was created, was to bring wine and share hope in people's homes. Okay. So, you're bringing the tasting experience to them just as if they were in a tasting room in our Rutherford, California tasting room. So um, that's pretty amazing. So I don't know if you know this or not, but usually wine tastings cost a lot of money. So if I were to go into a tasting room in Napa Valley, California, I would be paying money to attend that tasting. So you are bringing that experience to them and showing them how they can give back to all of the causes that we support and to the host cause of choice. So they are get to double dip and double donate to different causes just through their wine. And that's when I really realized that this was something for me when I realized that I could donate all year round to causes that I support and love. So you get to bring that tasting experience right to them. And that right there is a unique experience that they're not going to get by just having people over their house and drinking wine. So bringing the tasting to them is number one. Number two is it's fun. It is super, super fun. So if you're not sure of this already, you have to know by now that I am a themed person. So an easy way to share One Hope is to make it very simple and fun by offering just a simple themed event. So people are going to gather anyway, right? People gather for barbecues, for birthdays, for anniversaries, for showers, just because it's the weekend. They gather for play dates, they gather for clubs, they gather for school functions, they gather for so many different reasons. So you can bring the fun to that. You're just infusing wine into something that they're already doing. So creating a fun and simple theme is the way to go and do it. And the reason why I do that is because I like to keep it simple. So that really narrows it down for that host or for yourself. For instance, if you're doing a chip pairing, well, obviously all you need to do is prepare different bowls of chips. If you're doing popcorn, same thing. Wine and cheese, a simple charcuterie board out there. Chocolate, same thing. Okay. So it's really, really simple by creating a theme. And it's not something that anyone's just going to do when they have someone over their house. Okay. So bring the fun to the event and you will book events. Okay. The other fun thing about hosting a tasting yourself as a new CE is that you can earn free wine, right? Our hosts not only get to choose a nonprofit that they want to donate an extra 10% back to, but they also get free wine. Once that event reaches $500 in sales, they can also get a matching 10% back in wine reward points to use on free wine. So that is pretty amazing. So they pay for that wine up front and then they get it back at the end. So same thing for you. If you're buying wine for your event up front, you're going to get it back at the end. Okay. So it's fun. You're going to earn free wine. If you're a CE in any stage of your business, you're going to earn event tasting kits for free this month. So you get one tasting kit for free when you have a $600 event. Okay. which leads me to our third reason of why you should host an in-person tasting. Okay, it's less time. So it is a better way to maximize your time. You could sit there for hours upon hours messaging the same people over and over again. But when you make it about the experience, something that they're going to do anyway, they're going to drink wine anyway, and they're going to gather. Okay. So if you make it about the experience, they're going to buy more wine, right? Because they're tasting it. So it's a better way to maximize your time. You can spend 2 hours at a tasting event, or you could spend 10 texting people throughout a series of a week. So what would you prefer? I'd much rather take my time, even though I'm going to be messaging people anyway and following up, but I'd rather get more return, a higher return for my time, and then to just maybe get an order. Okay. Because 1 out of 10 people that you message are going to say yes. All right. Versus if you have 10 people sitting in front of you and they're all tasting wine, chances are they're all going to buy wine. And guess what? The average guest spend at an in-person event is about $100, which means you are qualified and getting to that 600 PCV with one event. Okay. Shoot for 8 to 10 people at that event and you're there. Okay. So I much rather would maximize my time. The other thing to note too with that is that you're meeting different people. Okay. If you're in person, it's about building those relationships, and you can't do that as well through texting people. Okay. So if you are in person, you are building those relationships, chances are they're going to try more wine and they're going to come back for more wine because you've created that connection with them. All right. So those are my 3 reasons why you should host a tasting. Okay. Or find someone who does. The objections, I posted a poll about objections, and here are the results. The majority of you say that you think that no one will come. Well, I have to say that that is not true. Okay. You do not live in a bubble by yourself. Okay. With no one else around you. And if you do, you can do things virtually. But if you don't, which chances are you don't, you have a lot of contacts, right? You have friends, you have relatives, you have acquaintances, you have neighbors, you have possibly kids and their connections. You might have a spouse or a significant other and their connections. Okay. You might be a part of different groups. You might go to church. You might have a group there. You might be a part of a club. So all of these people, your salon that you go to, different businesses around you, different nonprofits in your area. There are a ton of people that are at your disposal. And guess what? A huge percentage of people drink wine. So you have a huge audience. You just haven't found them yet, or you haven't asked. Okay. So to say no one will come, there's a lot of different ways that you can look at these objections. And I think at the top of the mountain of all of these objections is the word fear. Okay. So fear has 2 meanings. Okay. It can either be forget everything and run. And that means you just don't do anything because you think you're going to fail. Or it could mean face everything and rise. Okay. So you make that choice when you decide that you have an objection for something. You decide to go for the first option and you forget everything and run without even trying, and without even trying multiple times. Maybe you need to try a different group of people. Maybe it's the date. Okay. So there's all different ways that you can overcome these different objections. I did post an objection file on the team page under files that you can go to, and it gives you the exact words to say. A great way to go about handling these objections is the feel, felt, found method. So you just simply say something like, if someone says, no one's going to, come to the event, or maybe you don't have enough space, or maybe you don't have enough venue, or maybe you don't have a wine. So you might just say, I felt the same. I feel that I understand you. I felt the same way when I first started and my friends didn't buy from me for the first couple months. I have found that by getting outside of your circle and asking for referrals, you meet all different kinds of different people. Okay. So you want to relate to that person. It could be something like um, space. I feel, um, I feel that, when I first started, I didn't want to, necessarily have it at my home too, because I didn't like cleaning, right? I felt, I have found that by hosting an event at a BYOB or a different location, or maybe outside, then that tends to be a little bit easier for people. Um, and that's all you need to do. I have found that that works better for people. So you just want to make that relatable and you want to reach out to people. I did, like I said, post an example of what to say. Okay, so the second one is here. So I talked about no one will come. So the other thing you can do is asking each person to bring somebody. So if you have a group of 5 people, they each bring somebody else, whether it be a friend, a family, a neighbor, anyone in their circle. That's how you're going to grow your network. And that's how you're going to expand that group that comes to your events. No space. Okay. You can meet out. You can meet outside. You can ask someone for a referral of a place to go. You could ask to have it at a business. Okay, there's lots of community centers. There's lots of bakeries. There's lots of restaurants. BYOB, you could just have people meet you for dinner, come bring the wine, and everyone eats dinner. There's so many different ways that you could go about doing this. So there is always going to be a place for you to party. And you're all doing things anyway where you naturally would need wine. Okay. If you're going to a dinner party, bring wine. If you're going to a barbecue, bring wine. If you're going to a birthday party, bring wine. There's all these places that you can naturally just infuse that wine into whatever it is you're already doing. So again, it's that fear, right? No wine, another objection that I hear often. So what I have to say about that is you as the host, you should be hosting your first event for yourself. So whenever I don't have an event, I host one for myself. If I just buy a simple 4-pack, okay, I get 5% off that 4-pack. And then I get half price shipping. So I can do that. Plus, I earn my 20% to 25% commission off of it on top of that. So that, is going to also count toward an event, which I'm going to put in my name. And then I'm going to get wine credit once that event reaches 500. So that's already going to give you $100 to start that. And then you can earn that back. So it's kind of like what I say with our hosts. You buy it up front, you get it back at the end, and you get to donate to the nonprofits that you love. So if you have no wine, go buy some. Okay. Now, this is only going to take a little bit of time for you to invest, like buy that wine for your own tasting, because the fact of the matter is, whenever you host something, you have to provide the food and the alcohol anyway, right? So hosting that event will help you get to that. And then if your PCV equals 600 at the end of the month, you earn a 6-pack for an event tasting credit back. Okay. So on top of the free wine that you're going to get for you being the host and the commission, you're going to get 6 bottles of wine. So you're going to replenish that wine is what I'm trying to say. So you could either use the tasting, the wine that comes in your tasting kit, or you can go ahead and buy it. Okay. You can also have a friend host it. All right. And then no time. Okay. That is the biggest, one of the biggest objections that I also hear. So no time. Even the busiest person can find time, right? I don't know very many people who literally eat, wake up, eat, breathe, sleep, and do nothing else, whether it be a weekend. You can find maybe an hour to do something like this virtually. You can, bring wine to an existing event that you already have, like a birthday party or a barbecue or a dinner party, dinner with friends, whatever, mom play date, whatever it might be. You can find some time to infuse wine into what you're already doing. Because if you're drinking wine alone, you have time, right? You definitely have time if you're drinking wine alone, because you could be sitting there doing just this with some people on the other end, or they could be sitting in your living room or outside as well, even neighbors. So the key here is you can infuse wine anywhere. All right. So you want to start here with your own. Some new ideas for how you're going to find ways to infuse would be going to nationaltoday.com. That is a national calendar of all of those crazy holidays that are out there. I know Best Friends Day just happened on the 8th of June. We have Rose Day or National Rose Day happening this weekend on the 12th. So there's a lot of different crazy holidays that you can infuse wine into and make your theme. I'm doing one on the 18th on a Friday night with my neighbors. National Sushi Day and sips. So I'm doing sushi and sips, and we're just having, getting some takeout sushi, and I'm bringing over a couple bottles of wine. And they invited a few people over. So you can find any reason to have an event, to host a party. And I think you'll find that they're really fun. Okay. So those are the objections and the 3 reasons why you should definitely host an event. So bottom line here is you can either come up with a million excuses of why something isn't going to work, or you can find the one reason why it will. Okay. And then the bottom line here is, do you want your business to grow? Okay. If the answer is yes, you have to activate your business in some way. Okay. So you need to take the leap. All right. Take the risk. All right. Get out of that fear. You need to face everything and rise instead of forget everything and run, and just do it. Just do it. Okay. So I have 3 income producing activities, call to action for you all to do. The first one is book your own tasting. Okay. Connect with me, connect with your mentor, talk about some really simple ways to just get this on the calendar, and we can help you. So book your own event for June. Number 2, reach out to 10 a day. So they used to say, an apple a day keeps the dentist away. I always say 10 a day keeps your business in play. So whether that be messaging, people asking for referrals, reaching out to nonprofits, Googling them in your area. I have the templates for you to do that. Really anybody. There's so many people that that you're not thinking of. There is a file on our team page called the A to Z Memory Jogger. It's on the Hope Heals team page. I highly encourage you to take a look at that, because it is a huge list from A to Z of every possible person that you could think of that everyone from your hairstylist to the salon to your neighbors to, anyone. So you do know people, right? If you're on social media, people. And then finally, my third call to action is the 3 S's. So start the conversation, share your heart, and simplify it. Okay. So start the conversation, meaning just start talking to people, ask them how they're doing today, ask them, if they're excited for school to be let out, if they have any vacations planned this month, if they've tried any new wine out. Just start the conversation. A conversation doesn't always have to be your huge plug on, in having an event. You can just simply start the conversation with somebody, check in with them, and then lead into a booking conversation. Sharing your heart, go live on your Facebook page, make sure your friends and family, make sure you've let them know why you're selling ONEHOPE. Why are you doing this? What is your emotional why that keeps you going every day? What is it that you want out of this? Make sure your customers know that and your friends and family know that. And then simplify. Like I said, offering a simple theme idea, something that someone is already doing anyway, and you're just infusing yourself into it. This is not a hard task to do. In the next video that I'm going to share, I'm going to talk about the materials that you need to host. And guess what, guys? It's all right here, all in your tasting note cards. If you don't have these, you can print them. So there is no excuses on why anyone cannot have a tasting, right? It's all done for us. We just have to take the tools and just plug in. Okay. So I just wanted to just share those ideas with you, and check back. I will be sharing more on how to set up a tasting, the materials that you need to have to do a tasting, which are very minimal, and just some tips. All right. So bye, everybody.